All right, so let me talk about one of the things that I think is probably going to happen within the next 10 years. I think there's going to be a currency collapse, specifically the U.S. currency, but it is the dollar, the reserve currency of the world, so it is going to affect everywhere. But I believe there is going to be a currency collapse. I believe there's going to be a loss of confidence in the dollar, both abroad, which is already happening, and at home. And I believe we will see hyperinflation. Um, it may actually start with other currencies besides the dollar. It may start Japanese yen, Chinese yuan, the euro. It may start with some of the smaller currencies, smaller than that, and they may fail one by one until we get to the dollar. But the dollar will be reached because it's the main thing backing all of that, and it's insolvent. Um, what we can things we can expect and things we can look out for. I believe that we will see. Let me see here. I got a little list. Um, I believe first we'll actually see capital controls, which we are really seeing right now. Capital controls are uh, moves by the government to keep the capital and the money inside the country. So we're seeing that with all the laws for I think there's a FACTA is one of the bills. Basically, it's saying that foreign banks have to report all their information, so to the IRS, so that tax evasion, all the rich people evading taxes, are having a lot more problems now finding banks overseas. So I think we're going to see that. Another thing is, I mean, another capital control is you have a hard time even leaving the country with more than $10,000 on you. They will, $10,000 cash. They will confiscate it, search you, whatever. Uh, first, I believe you'll see the smart money. The smart money and the elite will leave the U.S. dollar like rats jumping off a fucking ship. So I believe that will happen. We'll see that happening fairly soon. Um, After that, we may see some bank failures, some bank holidays, which is when the banks the banks will close for a number of days, maybe even weeks, to kind of shore up their deposits because they're insolvent. Of course, they're always backed by government as well. And bail-ins, which, if you don't know what that means, that is basically the bank will confiscate uh, a percentage of your deposit to ride out their insolvency. This happened. This happened in Cyprus. They're drawing up plans. They've drawn up plans, and the IMF has drawn up plans. The European Central Bank has drawn up plans, and it's probably not that far away from it happening in some major countries, not just Cyprus and so, such and such. Um, when that happens, they just confiscate the money. Um, you'll see the nationalization of retirement accounts, which basically they already regulate the shit out of it. Tell you when they tax it when it goes in and tax it when it comes out, and then they tell you where you can put it and how long you can put it and when you can take it out and all this. So it's almost nationalized now, but they will increasingly nationalize it just so they can get to those funds. Pretty soon after that, we're going to see hyperinflation. I mean, we've already seen a large amount of inflation. I mean, ever since 1913, we've seen something like 96, 97% inflation since then. And since the Federal Reserve was introduced, and it's kind of going up in an exponential curve. The last few years has been kind of hidden, where they've passed out a lot of dollars to banks and to investments and to stocks and to foreign countries. So it's kind of it's not hasn't come out too much in prices yet, but oh, it fucking will. Once we get that, the price of energy, the price of oil, the price of food is going to go fucking crazy. Once we see that, I believe that we will see price controls by the government. And this is usually, you always see this. You always see this with hyperinflation. You see it anytime you have a socialist government, which we do. They try to control everything. They try to put a Band-Aid on things, and it never fucking works. But they will do that. They'll put price controls on certain things, maybe oil, maybe food, and then you'll see shortages. You'll see shortages of essential goods. You'll see shortages of food. Some of the store shelves will be empty, and shortages at the gas pump. And once that happens, you really need to put a plan in place once that happens, because the shit may hit the fan. You can see rationing some of the goods that maybe like welfare or food stamps. There's going to be some rationing of that. Of course, Obamacare, Medicare. There's going to be some rationing. There already is rationing, but it's going to increase. And what this is going to do is this is going to impact people's standard of living, and it's going to spark some civil unrest. And of course, the civil unrest will be just an excuse for more regulations and more of a police state, and eventually there'll be martial law in certain places, and probably more war. Now this country's been in war almost continuously for all its history. However, large-scale wars mostly avoided recently. One thing to distract people is a completely large-scale war. So that may happen, and when that happens, there are always corresponding civil rights violations in the country. And what I mean by that is people get thrown into concentration camps, World War II, anti-war press gets thrown in jail, World War I, World War II, Civil War. Any kind of so-called political dissidents will get thrown in jail or hunted down. That's happened. And those are the kind of things you can expect. And you can never count out democide. Democide is when governments kill their own citizens. It's happened 162 million times in the 20th century. So it's not exactly something that you can discount and say it will never happen here, because it's happened plenty of places, and usually it's when a government starts losing control, and they become more totalitarian at that point and just start slaughtering people. So it's just something to be prepared for. As usual during a crisis, statists also, the statists will clamor for more government to protect them, and the government agents will do whatever they can to hold on to their power. So you can expect, before there's any kind of collapse or weakening of the U.S. government, they're going to expand their powers and start fucking with people a lot more. So I'm very optimistic in the long run, but in the short run, I think it will get a lot worse before it gets better. So, and that is why I believe that everyone should prepare for situations like this. Basic preparations are easy, and the most important thing is to just start thinking about these things and being prepared in your mind. All right, and this is the Jason with the Whiskey Rebels, and we're signing off. We're on the Voluntary Virtues Network. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.